On that note, I need to bring in Mr. Bangani Ngeleza, who's going to give us an overview of how the day is going to pan out and what we should expect from our presenters. He is a long-term technical advisor as well as a lead researcher for Gauteng, and he was instrumental in consolidating the necessary reports that today we are going to discuss. And over to you, Mr. Bangani.
Thank you very much, Thabo. Good morning, everybody, both here in the studio and those that are joining us online. Thank you for the opening remarks, Godfrey, Subethri, Dr. Pillay. I think you've laid a foundation for us. So mine today is basically to take you through an outline on how we are going to run today's session, the program, that is, what we have planned to do. But as I do this, I'm reminded when we meet here of something that somebody said, and I will quote. And I don't know who said this and why they said it, and to whom. But they said, I'm always ready to learn, although I do not always like to be taught. So this statement could have been said for this situation that we're in, as far as I'm concerned, because COVID-19 is not a good experience. It's a traumatic experience. Livelihoods and lives have been lost, and we're still going through the pains, but it is teaching us lessons. So I think it is apt, actually, that we meet here today to do this. But at the same time, the effort that has been initiated by DPME, supported by the NRF and GTAC, to actually assist us to capture the lessons we're learning from this pandemic needs to be applauded. And this is the reason why we're here today, basically to share lessons that are emerging so that we can be ready for the next waves of the pandemic, for other big disruptions, but also so we can apply these lessons to improve our systems, to improve ourselves and how we deliver services to our people. But with those few words, just to say that today, as already indicated, is dedicated to giving space to provinces who have been doing work since the pandemic started to capture the lessons so that they can be integrated into the national report that the Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation is coordinating. So what you will hear today will form part of the national report. It's going to be a chapter in the national report. And what DPME asked provinces to do was to basically capture the measures that they have taken to respond to COVID-19, to capture the effectiveness and ineffectiveness of those measures and reasons for that so that there can be learning that comes out of that. Also to capture the experiences of working with non-state players. As a whole society response, this was an important element to capture. But also, not only to end there, but to listen to the voice of the citizens as far as how they're experiencing these responses, you know, the lockdowns that we have gone through and stuff like this. So this is what provinces are going to tell us about today in terms of how they managed this response at provincial level. But then, in the interest of brevity, because we have limited time, we have asked the provinces to just share with us about four things. One, high-level background, provincial background to the response. Number two, the methodology they used. And you will see that the different provinces actually applied different methodologies, although the guidance was there was a unique areas of focus that were agreed across the board, but the approaches adopted by the provinces, they varied somewhat, and they also had flexibility to actually go beyond the brief that they were given by DPME. So then we asked them to then share their findings, but focus on what worked well, the good things that this pandemic has taught us about ourselves, so that we can use that to actually, strengthen our systems, but also what did not work quite well, so that we can work on those things that we need to improve, and then a set of recommendations. So throughout today, we are going to have each province coming in to share with us for 30 minutes their work. That will then be followed by a discussion where we will receive questions. Also, as Thabo has indicated, you can post your questions to the provinces. And then the last slot is going to be a panel discussion. And that is allocated to a couple of provinces that have as yet not submitted written reports. But we felt that we need to accommodate them because, of course, they've had experiences and they do have things that they can share with us. But we'll do that by way of a panel discussion. And joining them will be the National School of Government, because they also have something to share. There's some initiatives that they launched as part of their response, so that we can actually, learn out of that and see where we go. So I'd like to encourage you to participate, to engage, to ask questions, to query things, because that is where learning actually comes from. So today we'll work until 5:30. It's quite a long day. Then, if I may touch a little bit about tomorrow. So tomorrow we will work until 2, and tomorrow is a bit slightly different. And the host for tomorrow's session is the Gauteng Office of the Premier. They volunteered to host this session for tomorrow. And the purpose for tomorrow is that we want to test the idea. We want to see whether or not there is appetite, especially amongst the offices of the Premier, to actually create something more permanent, a platform that they can use going forward to have conversations and to share lessons and experiences and best practice around how they can, in a more deliberate way, going forward, facilitate, coordinate service delivery at provincial level, building from the lessons from COVID. So this platform, this is what we hope, if there's appetite for this, is going to go beyond COVID. It's going to be something like that is permanent, that allows for the office of the premiers to actually share and learn from one another going forward. And for that, the office of the premier in Gauteng is going to share around 2 areas. The one area, they will share with us what they did in detail around governance, leadership, and coordination to support the COVID response. Secondly, they will share with us on the availability of functional beds, how they supported that process of ensuring that functional beds are available. But as I say, the intention really is to test this appetite. And then we'll end tomorrow with an input on the value of learning networks. So with that, let me hand over back to you, Thabo.